Hello guys, welcome to my channel Tech Bulletin Prime. I am Rajnikant and today's video we're gonna discuss how to write integration tests for your Spring Boot applications. Right? So if you have not subscribed my channel yet, please do subscribe it and hit the bell icon to get all the notifications. So let's begin. Let me open the top paint box. So what is exactly integration testing? Right? Suppose you are developing some application or a API using some Spring Boot, right? So different layers are there, right? You have controllers, you have controllers, you have service layers, you have DAO layers, right? Suppose this is controller, service, and DAO. Sorry, DAO, right? So once everything done, entire development done, so you need to test either from browser or suppose Postman. Suppose this is Postman, right? From this Postman you need to test. Suppose Postman. From this Postman you need to test whether that application is working or not perfectly, right? You need to hit to controller, and then from controller to it will go to service, from service to it will go to DAO, and again from here the response will come to here. Okay, let me take different color now. Okay, sorry. Again it will come to here, then from here, then from here, right? So you need to test like this. So this is kind of a integration test, whether that end to end is working or not, right? So from controller the flow will go to service and DAO. From DAO it will paste those details and it will return to service, from service to controller, and from controller it will return that JSON to your Postman, right? So you can test from Postman whether that entire flow is working or not, right? So this is kind of a integration test from end to end, right? So this is a manual process, right? So how we can write some test cases, right? I mean integration test using Spring Boot. So leave that Spring Boot. In normally if you want to automate that one, means how we can do. Let's see that one, right? Suppose this is your application, right? This is your app, entire application, and you want to test from this controller to service to DAO, right? You want to hit this controller, right? So if you want to hit this controller, first you need to deploy this one to some server, right? So this is the server maybe, and you need to deploy this application into server, right? So this is your app app. So first you need to deploy this one to the server. Let me delete this one. You need to deploy this server, right? After getting deployed that one, maybe you can write some class, right? Maybe you need write some class, and from here maybe you can use some REST template, to call those APIs, right? So you need to write some program to deploy this application to some server, and again you need to write some program using REST template to access that one, right? Access that server or access that controller and fetch the result, right? So instead of doing this by your own, so Spring provides a features, right? Spring provide different features to achieve that one, right? So some simple annotations are provided. let me open one more paint box. So suppose here your class, some test class. I mean, how Spring will do that one, let me explain. Class some API test. So very simple, just you need to annotate one annotation, right? What is that annotation? I will tell. At the rate Spring Boot test, right? So here what it will do at that Spring Boot test. So whatever that main configuration is there in your Spring Boot application, right? So whatever that main class is there, so from there it will read all those properties, application.properties or whatever those metadatas, right? It will read and load the context, right? So as it say you need to run this one in some web server, so you need to give a random port. So which port it will use? Web environment equal to dot random port underscore port, right? So it will give a random port where your application will be run, right? So at that Spring Boot test, what it will do, it will take all those configuration things from your main class and it will create the context and it will run that application into some random port, this, right? So then you can, I mean that application is already run by default, then you can write your test cases, integration test cases, right? So let's begin a program and we'll see how we can write that integration test, right? So first for this one we need to develop some sample API, right? So already I have developed the sample API. Let's see. So this is a Spring Boot starter project, right? This is a Spring Boot starter project. So if you see here dependencies, only web dependencies are there and dev tools I have added, and this will come automatically if you add web dependencies. I mean, if you add Spring Boot web, it will come these things. So you do not no need to worry. So this is the controller I have. This is a get mapping. So the URL is v1 Aadhaar read. So this is a sample API where I am querying some Aadhaar number, and based on the Aadhaar number, it will return the Aadhaar details, right? So it's a dummy one. This is that URL v1 version 1 Aadhaar.read method get, and it will return JSON data. So in the query param Aadhaar number I am receiving this Aadhaar number I am passing to Aadhaar service. So Aadhaar service I have auto add here. So here I'm passing Aadhaar number, right? Let's go to Aadhaar number. So here I have auto add DAO at that service Aadhaar service, and I'm auto add DAO. So in DAO I am passing this Aadhaar number. Let's check here. So here I'm passing some dummy string, right? With this concatenating this Aadhaar number and name, age, address, mobile number. These are the static data I am sending. One string I am sending, JSON string. Okay. So let's go to here. So after controller I am receiving that string, and here I am returning the response entity, right? Here I am returning the response entity. So generally why we should return response entity? Because it will provide you the flexibility. You can set your status, you can set additional headers, and you can set body. But if you are returning string, means some default things will go, right? So it is always better to have return type as this response entity. Okay, so here I am returning the status, okay, and header, some sample header status completed, in body whatever I am receiving that JSON string, right? So let's run this one. Spring Boot up. Yeah, so you can see it's running 8080 port, right? So let me open Postman. So this is that URL and params. You can see Aadhaar number. This is the query param I am passing, and some sample Aadhaar hyphen Rajni 1234 I am passing, right? So let's check. We'll see. Just see the output. The JSON string is coming, right? So our API is working perfectly. So now let's write some integration test, right? So let me stop the server. Let's go to that test thing, java test.java, and here I already have created a package tbp integration.test. Let me create one java class tbp Aadhaar integration test, INTEGRAT integration test, right? So here let's annotate. Okay, let me maximize this one. Okay, @spring boot @spring boot test web environment equal to web environment, sorry, dot random port. Then it's some random port it will run, right? So we need to take that port BRIVATE int port. So it will run some random port, right? So we'll take this port, right? @local server port, right? So whatever that port it will run this application, it will inject to here, right? And one more thing, we want a REST template, right, to call that API. So PRIVAT will take test REST template. We'll do provide. Okay, so here one more thing. Then we have done. Then we need to write some test cases, right? So public void get other test. We need to annotate with @test. Then here that URL we need to do, right? String, sorry, URL equal to, let me take this URL. First we need to build that URL, right? Then here port will take from this port, right? This port instead of 8080. And then plus we are concatenating this one, and this is that URL, right? This is that query param will pass. Let me comment this one, right? Because we are nowhere you are using that one. right? This is the string we have, I mean URL we have prepared. Then we need to pass, I mean we need to send this query param, right? So for that one we need to use URI components, right, to build that entire thing. URI components, it's a web util. In that package it's there. URI components builder equal to URI component builder components builder dot from http URL. So string URL you need to pass here, right? Then dot query param. So query param, what is our query param? This Aadhaar number, right? So this Aadhaar number and values, suppose I am passing here ADHAR Pradhan 1234, okay, dot build build, right? So here what it will do, that URL is there, right? First we are creating a I mean from this URL we are putting this query param, right? Then let's create that HTTP entity. HTTP entity string request entity equal to new HTTP entity. So here you can pass body and headers, right? We don't have header, so it's fine. If you have not entity also, it's fine. Null, I'm passing null. We don't have any body and headers, right? Then response entity string response equal to rest template, this test rest template dot extends, sorry, dot extends. Then here you can pass this URL dot to string, so the URL entire URL prepare, and here we can pass that method HTTP method dot get, and here you can pass that response entity, sorry, that request entity. If you're passing any headers and those things, means here you need to pass, and here you can specify what is that string dot class. Okay, so entire thing we have done. Now let's so after receiving this one we need to do some asset, right? So here you can get the entire result. So based on that, based on your convenience you can do that test, right? Maybe If that status is okay, if you're fine, then it's okay. Otherwise, if data you want to check, you can check from here, right? So let me set equals ACCERT, right? Set equals we need to do ASSERT equals set equals, suppose here actual response dot get status code, right? So here what it will return, sorry, HTTP status, right? So HTTP status dot okay. So and here let me print that system dot out dot println. Let me print here that body dot get body, right? So yes, we have done, sorry, Control Shift F, formatting, right? So here what we are doing here, first at that Spring Boot test and web environment equal to web environment dot random port. So that at that Spring Boot test scans that main class where every configuration will be read, and it will generate, it will create that context, and it will deploy that application into some random port, right? And that port we are receiving here in that port, and we are auto voided a REST template, test template, and this is the test method. We are writing our test. I'm preparing this URL. This is that URL, right? And with this URL builder, I am preparing this URL HTTP entity. If you want to pass some headers, then you can put this one. And here in the response entity, I am sending that request, right? Here you will get the response. After the getting response, I am checking whether the status is okay or not. If the status is okay, then it's got success. Otherwise, if you want to check those values after getting this get body request, after getting this request, I mean response from here, you can check those stuffs also, right? So let's run this program. Just right click here, run as a unit test. Okay, so you can see here run one and it's passed one, right? Errors 0, failures 0. So one test case got passed, right? So this is very simple one. This one got passed, right? So this is very simple thing, right? So hope you got at least how to write a integration test case. If this video is helpful, please do subscribe my channel and like this video and share it. So thank you.